Hello everyone, welcome back to Live on the Set with D. I'm Deanna. This is my page, my YouTube channel. Welcome back. Please subscribe. As you can see, I need all the subscribers that I can get. So please subscribe to my channel. And we're talking about Black women and self-love today, so let's get into it. Self-love is the best love. Yeah, yeah. Self-love is the best love. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to my girl Tiana Taylor. Made It. That's the song. Can't play it, but you know, that is the song. Love that song, and I do listen to it when I need a little pick-me-up. But yes, I wanted to talk about self-love. You've been hearing a lot about self-love lately, right? Like, where is this coming from? Where did it come? Did it just come out the ear? Or like, what is the cause of this self-love movement? These self-love movements, the self-love, this awareness, self-awareness, self-care that more and more Black women seem to be practicing. Yeah, that more and more Black women seem to be practicing, and it's not just because it fell out of the thin air. So I would like to address that. So I want to get into what is self-love and like what's the hype behind all this self-love talk. And y'all see my t-shirt, right? Shout out to Fashion Nova. Send your girl some stuff so I can get a little you know what I'm saying, get a little partnership. Not a problem. But anyway, I'm just rocking it because it just speaks to what we're speaking to today. So yeah, like, what is self-love? Like, what is all the self-love hype about? It's definitely something that more and more Black women are getting into, because obviously we are realizing places where we probably were neglected with love. We've been in relationships, some of us longer than others, and have gotten out of them realizing that we were not loved properly. You know what I'm saying? If you are a woman like me, I didn't grow up with my dad in my household, and I didn't get that provision and that protection piece. Something I've always been missing, which also speaks to the strong Black woman and me. That's another video. But you know, it's as I got older, and I've had relationships, and it honestly wasn't until I got out of I call it my learning relationship. When I graduated college, I was in a relationship like all my 20s, and I call that my learning relationship. But it wasn't until I got out of that relationship and how I felt after it, which was very unseen, unvalued, unappreciated, just not seen for who, all the love that I feel like I put into it, regardless of whether, you know, I knew everything that I should have known or not, but I knew that I definitely loved the person. To get out of that feeling, kind of how I felt when I realized that I had an emptiness from my childhood, like with my dad or whatever, and times where I felt like, you know, nobody showed up for me with certain things, like basically feeling unseen, unheard, unwanted, yeah, just not good enough, inadequate, you know what I mean? And you know, you don't hear a lot of women that you look at that people deem have themselves together, don't hear them saying that, because it's a lot of times we cry in the dark. You know what I'm saying? We cry to ourselves. We have our most vulnerable moments alone, unfortunately. And we, you know, that's not ideal, but it happens, you know, and it forces you to be more resilient, and it forces you to kind of depend on yourself, right? So just imagine being involved with somebody and you love them, you know, but then at the end of the relationship, you don't even, after you reflect on it and think about things and things that happen, like, you still feel empty. So you got to fill that void some way, somehow, right? So for me, definitely got into therapy because, like I said, I just felt it was just empty, like an emptiness. Like he couldn't console that because he had his own daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? Just goes back to that trauma bonding, but that's another video. We're gonna get into it though. But anyway, yeah, I went to therapy, but I still needed like a little more. You know what I'm saying? So talking to my therapist, she's like, you have to just figure out what it is that you love to do and feel that, so you can fill that void with anything that Deanna works for Deanna. Like, what does she like to do, whether that's hobbies or in my career, what it is that I really wanted to do in life, whatever, like whatever brings me joy, whether it's the smallest thing, like a funnel cake at Six Flags, or you know what I mean, jumping out of a plane on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like, for me personally, traveling, I love to travel. I love to travel, and I will be bringing you guys some of that stuff as well. But yeah, traveling is for me. I love the ocean. I love the water. I love like turquoise, just clear blue ocean water, and just being by the beach and, meeting people, enjoying people. That works for me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what your self-love is, but I had to find out what was true happiness for myself. Because if you are anything like my family, even though it wasn't said, you basically are taught unconsciously that men bring your happiness. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that getting into my relationship, I'm gonna get in a relationship and everything is just gonna be peaches and cream. You know what I'm saying? Or a big fairy tale. And it was definitely it was not that. I don't know about your relationship, but mine definitely was not. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like I said, it was my learning relationship, and he had daddy issues and mommy issues, and I did as well. So yeah, we trauma bonded that thing up, and by the time I was 30, 28, I realized we're not going in the same direction, just in a different place. You know what I'm saying? So as hard as it was for me to leave that relationship, I had to choose myself. You know what I'm saying? I had to. And when you love somebody, it's not that easy, and any woman on here can attest to that. But at some point, you have to figure out, listen, I'm either going to thug it out with homeboy and his potential, and, or I'm going to choose myself and create the life that I want for me. You know what I mean? So and also figure out what it is that I don't want in life. Figure out how I've changed in life. Figure out, ways I've grown, ways I need to still grow in life. That's what prompted the whole self-love journey for me after my relationship. And I was in that relationship, like I said, all of my 20s. So I want to say I was really done with it, like done. Probably like 31, 32, maybe 32 for real. Because what I remember, I'll put my glasses on because I'm gonna start reading, guys. But I just remember crying. I remember crying to my ex, basically. And it was it was that deep cry. I never cry like that, like ever in my life. That deep, deep cry, like they say, cry so much it hurts. I think it was kind of release for me because I was just realizing like he couldn't be what I wanted him to be. And he didn't look at me the way I wanted him to look at me. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those, like, it's effed up. You know what I mean? Like, you done gave everything to said person and it's still not enough. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. That's why I feel like I cried so hard, because it was like those feelings of childhood trauma coupled with me thinking I'm in a whole relationship, adult relationship, and I move past that, or this person is loving me like I need to be loved, and then to get to the end and to realize this person probably didn't even see you for, you may feel like you loved him properly or gave all of yourself to him, but he don't see that. he don't even see or feel or is in the same love basket that you would, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it was just very hurtful, very, very hurtful, but very enlightening, you know, that I can't be thinking people are going to bring me joy and happiness. That's something I need to find for myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's what prompted my self-love journey, to be honest with you. And I, you know, I want to be transparent, so I'm always gonna you know, just be honest, because I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people out here dealing with that or could relate to that. You know what I'm saying? But if it wasn't for that, you never know. I probably would have had kids, because I definitely wanted to, you know, wanted to have a family. I probably would have stayed there. I stayed for everything else. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, well, let's talk about what self-love is. So self-love is defined as a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Self-love means having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. I'm going to read that one more time. Self-love means having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. So what does that mean? Meaning you, not him, not her, not your mom, not your dad, not your grandmother, not your grandfather, not your guardian. You are responsible for your own happiness and well-being. And that's not to say you were responsible if anything happened as a child. You know, you always got to compartmentalize things because people be so ready to comment and go off like, relax. This is not to say if something happened to you as a child, like whatever adult was in charge of you was responsible if anything happened to you that shouldn't have happened as a child. But once you get a certain age, right? Because we all have trauma. We all have some type of something that we are dealing with probably from our younger years. But when you get to a certain point in life, like when I knew I couldn't get certain answers from my mother, my father, you know, I did want closure at some point in my relationship, but for what? I mean, once you realize what you need closure for, like the closure was everything that happened that you've seen, right? But once you realize you're not getting that, you have to seek it elsewhere. Like you have to dig deeper and figure out what it is that you really want for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And some people have some really deep, dark, you know, issues that is not always that easy. So I don't want to sit here and say like a self-love journey is easy. It's not. It is not a walk in the park at all. It's not. Self-reflection is not an easy thing. And to realize where you contributed to, you know, some of the things that happened to you, like whether you decided to stay, whether you decided to forgive, you know what I'm saying, whether you fell in love with the representative, and you know, you constantly let things happen to you that you probably didn't know at the time. So you have to give yourself some grace. I'm learning that too, giving myself a lot of grace, trust me. Sometimes I want to go back and beat myself up, my younger self up, like, girl, come on, what was you thinking? But anyway, you have to figure out, outside of everything that people did to you, or they was responsible for whatever they did to you at whatever age, what type of person you want to be moving forward. Because honestly, if you don't, that not only affects you, it affects the people around you, and the people around you being, most importantly, yourself. But like, what if you have children? What if you get into another relationship with a great guy or woman and you can't even fully bring your whole self because you haven't healed, you know what I mean, from what the last person did to you? That's not fair. And that's how I felt. I felt it wasn't fair. I didn't want to bring anything of how I was that was unbeknownst to me into my next relationship with my husband, because that's my final relationship. Or to my babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, they definitely don't deserve that. And I, for some reason, feel like as a millennial, this was kind of put on me more to kind of like try to break this cycle. So anyway, yeah, so that's what self-love is. Having a high regard for your own self and your well-being and happiness. And self-love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. I'm going to say that again because a lot of people pleasers out here, especially with the age of social media. I'm sorry, I'm a little bun. I like little messy buns. I can't never get my little buns to be as messy and cute. But it's okay. It's mine. It grew out of my head. And that's it and that's all. So, what was I saying? Okay, there's a lot of people pleasing going on in this day and age. I don't know why people are seeking so much validation and confirmation about who they are or what they bring to the table from other people, but it's a lot of that going on. And if you don't know yourself, usually that's going on a lot more than it, you know, it needs to be, because you're seeking acknowledgement, you're seeking to be seen, like you're seeking to be recognized. And I understand that, but that's a deeper thing that you probably should seek therapy about, or just have, you know, take a moment and self-reflect. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. So I wanted to get into why self-love was important. So why is it important for you to have a great relationship with yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Think about that. And I don't think people ever think about it until they really have to sit and think about it. Like, why is it important? It's important because, like, everything flows from your heart, right? Anybody that you meet, whatever happens to you, everything starts with you. Meaning, if you don't have that self-love there, then anybody can control, like, how you feel about yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's where that low self-esteem comes in. Think about people that you know, that are in relationships by themselves. Like, say, the man goes out and knows whatever he wants. Everybody else knows it. She knows it, but is in denial. You know, and maybe because you just never know. Like, people get verbally abused. People are getting belittled and being told that nobody wants them. Nobody else is going to ever love them like said person loves them. And said person could be knocking their heads off. You know what I'm saying? Like, every 5 minutes. But you will believe that if you don't get out and really see who it is that you can be. Or maybe somebody was getting belittled or verbally abused when they were younger, and then get in a relationship when they're older and the same thing happens. You think that doesn't play a part? It definitely does. Oh, shout out to my sissy, my big sister. She bought me this. It says, sister, lifelong best friend. Definitely right. But think about that. Like, think about somebody who just really don't know or never had that love in their life to know that they are more than enough, you know, more than this is nothing that they should be dealing with, and it's more out here, like, to go be their best self. So it's important to practice self-love so that way you know yourself. You know who you are. You know what you want. You know what it is that you don't want. You know how it is that you should be treated, more importantly. And it's not always an easy thing because that starts in the mind. And you know what they say about the mind is literally the most powerful thing that we have on us, because aside from the heart, the mind can tell you that you are great and nobody else can feel that way. But as long as you do, you'll most likely be great. And if nobody else cares, it doesn't matter because you feel that way anyway, right? The mind can also tell you that you are worthless. If somebody else was telling you that when you were younger, it can tell you that you're inadequate. If experiences remind you that you feel like that sometimes, it can tell you that you're not seen, you're not heard, you're not understood. Nobody cares, that you're not worthy. Your mind can tell you all that stuff. And it does happen. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. It's not the easiest. So you have to really believe that you are meant for more. You know what I'm saying? That you're worth love. And regardless of whether you hadn't got that from the people you feel like that you needed to get it from, i.e. your parents, that's where most of it stems from. Your parents, you need to find it in yourself to know that you are greater than that, even if you weren't shown it or you weren't told that. And that's not the easiest thing. And I know it's not the easiest thing because it's something that I had to deal with. Like, you know, you're not always going to get these answers that you want. And not getting those answers, you have to make it your business to say to yourself, like, self, I'm everything. You know what I'm saying? I deserve happiness. I deserve joy within. I'm not going to let anybody come into my life anymore and make me feel as though I'm less than, like I'm inadequate, like I'm not worthy enough, like I'm not worthy to be loved properly. You know, you have to speak these things into yourself and then start your journey. I would recommend getting a therapist, because they just understand, they get it. And for those people who, those of us who are like, oh, I ain't nothing wrong with me going crazy. No, there is something wrong. No, you're not crazy, but it's something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, therapists aren't there to, like, you have psych wards for crazy people. You know what I'm saying? Like, not so therapists are there to help you just work out your own stuff. You know what I'm saying? We all got stuff. We all got baggage. We all got luggage. You know what I'm saying? Things that need to be sorted out. Just think of it as you coming home with your luggage and you need somebody to help you unpack that thing. You know what I'm saying? It's all yours. It's just somebody that's more equipped that's helping you to come unpack your bag. You know what I'm saying? To place things where they need to be placed so that you are more in your right mind than not. You're not triggered as much as you probably were. And it helps you not to get over it. It's not about getting over it, because I hear a lot of people using those terms as well. Like, you know, you should just get over it. And most of the time, these are people that are unhealed. They haven't even dealt with the things that they done suppressed, i.e. the aunts and the uncles, and probably sometimes your parents and your siblings. You know what I mean? If they had a different experience than you had. But no, it's not just get over it. You have to work it out. You have to work it out so you can be the best person for yourself and the people around you, right? So that's that. Okay, I had said earlier on that I wanted to say that a lot of us grow up and we have this idea of happiness that we get from probably our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts and uncles that involve like others making us happy. Like, as soon as we get married, we'll be happy. We have a family, we'll be happy. When that's not true. So you got to unlearn some things. And that's one of them. Happiness and joy starts with you. That should be instilled in you as a child, to not feel like you need another person to make you happy. Of course, when your significant other comes, like you guys together, if you believe in marriage, and when you come together as a union, and you two will be whole together, complete, you know what I mean? But you two on the outside on your own separate journeys, you should want to be a whole person to yourself. So that way you're bringing whatever it is that you need to bring. He's bringing whatever he needs to bring when you guys meet. Fairy tale. I want a fairy tale. I deserve a fairy tale, and I'm going to get it too. You'll see. You'll see, because I do believe God got somebody, spectacular for me. You know what I'm saying? With my crazy, quirky Aquarius behind. That he gonna love me though. And I believe, and I love myself though. But I love I was on this journey since I'm 37 now. A good 5 years with some setbacks. Like a good 5 or 6, I would say. Good 5 or 6 years with some, setbacks. But that's neither here nor there. You got to give yourself some grace, right? So anyway, I wanted to read what I'll also be reading from an article from Elle that I saw. I'll leave the the article link in my description box. And I also want you guys to take a look at, it's a TED Talk by, who is it? Hold on 1 second. A TED Talk called The Power of Black Woman's Self-Love Journey by Denise Francis. I'll leave that in my description too. Go take a look at it. It was pretty good. Pretty good TED Talk. And she's just basically saying how, you know, she remembers when she was 9 years old, and from young she remembers something happened in her house. I guess somebody, you know, probably was getting some abuse situation or whatever have you. I don't remember exactly what, but she was saying how she heard it and she went and ran. And when her people, I guess whoever was involved in the altercation, came to find her, like before they found her, she was all crying in tears, like she was experiencing anxiety at 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? And her people came to find her, and she did wipe the eyes and said she was okay. Act like she didn't hear nothing about it. She don't say nothing about it. They don't say nothing about it. Now that happens because adults think that kids don't remember things for some reason. I don't know why. Kids have vivid memory, especially if it's like one of the happiest times of their life or just a traumatic time. A child is going to remember. And I think a lot of parents have sadly making the mistake of thinking that just because you're young that when you grow up, you forget. Oh, no. That is not the case. You don't just remember, you remember like it was yesterday. Remember it vividly. Even if you don't remember anything else that happened that day, you're going to remember whatever took place, whatever traumatized you, whatever caused you that anxiety. And you know when it's going to come back up? It's not going to come back up until you are triggered. Meaning for her, for Denise, it didn't come back up. She said, I think she was in a class psychology class in college, and the teacher writes anxiety on the board, and she just like triggered, like, you know, just slouched down in her seat, just felt those feelings. And that's how it is. Like, that's exactly how it is, unfortunately. I wanted to read what Corinthians says about love. And the reason why I want to read that is because I feel like people just get so twisted about what love is. You know what I mean? And the Bible says it very, very, very clearly about what love is, right? And I think a lot of people are trying to make their own ideas because maybe they've been in some situations longer than they should have. Like, I'm not sure. It happens. It definitely happens. But if you know that a situation is not serving you, you have to make that decision. You can't stay in it and things don't go the way that you want them to, and then realize I stayed in this for 20 years. I haven't been fulfilled, haven't done anything for myself. Because, you know, as women, we are nurturers. We'll help Bay get his, you know, his career off the ground or whatever it is that he wanted to do. We'll help the kids, and we'll forget ourselves and we'll neglect ourselves. That's not self-love. So all you mothers out there, okay, that feel like my life is my family and I can't do anything for myself, that's not, your kids don't want that for you. If your husband or wife your husband loves you or wife loves you, they don't want that for you either. Like, you know, you have to have some identity about yourself. We can't always immerse ourselves in other people, what everybody has going on. I know that sounds crazy coming from a woman, because as I'm telling you that, I have to tell myself that, you know what I mean? But you can't forget about yourself and who you were before that. So anyway, 1 Corinthians 13:4-8 says, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy or boast, it is not arrogant or rude, it does not insist on its own way, it is not irritable or resentful, it does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. I'm going to read it again, because if it ain't that, it's not love. And I got to be for real with that, because whatever you trying to make love out to be is not. You'll see. if you are in denial about some things, or you feel as though, oh, this is just for now, you know, like in situations where people have shown you like the best 3 months of your life, and then you've been in a relationship for 8 years, and that best 3 months of your life never came back, it's probably not going to. So it's either going to stay in that, or you're going to move, and you're going to go make sure you have that love for yourself, and that you never get into something like that again with somebody who does not love you. Okay? That's where we fall into situations where it's like you had the ability, the capability to take full control of your situation, of your life, and you chose not to. You chose to love potential. You chose to be in love with the representative, and you chose to stick it out. And when we choose to stick things out, we can't really be upset with nobody but ourselves, you know. And even then, be upset, get over it, and give yourself some grace, because your younger self didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know what it was that you were accepting, what it was that you, you know, that you would never deal with now. Like, I think about things that I dealt with. Girl, please. And it's crazy, because I be like, and me, I don't like for nobody to get nothing over on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like it, you know, so yeah, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Because, the Bible said God restores. So anything that you feel like you lost, you stay faithful. And I truly believe that God is going to restore anything that I feel like I lost out, or times where I feel like I wasn't the smartest, you know what I'm saying? But the smartest at that time, or where I felt like, you know, love is going to win. Or, you know, like the song, I think about what's love got to do with it, because that's how I feel now. That's how I feel now. Like, love ain't enough, honey. It ain't. And it ain't enough when you love yourself. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's important for it to come from within. So that way, can't nobody, you're not sticking around for nothing. We all been there. We all been there, ladies. And men as well. We have all been there. But you have to know what it is that you deserve in life. Right. Okay, so now that we got that, I wanted to read some excerpts from the Elle had an article. It's called For Black Women, Self-Love is a Revolutionary Act, which is crazy, right? It says the dehumanization of Black women has historical roots that are deep and thick. Many have been conditioned not to see Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women, as fully human, credible, or desirable. In some cases, society has been conditioned not to see women at all. That's crazy. And you know what gets me? I don't understand how this is even a thing when we are such an integral part of everything. Like, it's just weird. Like, and as far as divine law, like, we are the multipliers. You know what I'm saying? We are the creators. It's ridiculous. And in this era of this hate towards Black women, it's like, go get your lives together. Like, go get it together and go get some therapy for all. If you're a man who just has an issue with Black women, we ain't going nowhere. Okay? And we're going to just keep looking better and better and better. You know why? Because we're going to always be there for each other regardless. And that's real. That is always real. And as you can see, we have a lot of self-empowerment groups. Self-empowerment groups, self-empowerment conferences, women empowerment brunches. We got woman empowerment, like, conferences, seminars, you know what I'm saying? Just self-care Sundays that Black women, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to take care of each other. Spa days, we do all of that. Like, we do it all. And we're going to always take care of each other. But we want our men to be in alignment with that as well, unfortunately. But I wanted to speak to what this article said about, in some cases, people don't even see black women at all. And I can attest to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 5'7", like 220, okay? I'm trying to lose weight, y'all. I really am. I'm fasting, right? This is the first day of my fast, actually. We'll talk about that later on because I don't want to think about it. But I just recall times I'm out and I got groceries, or you know how sometimes we could just be the bag lady, like, bag lady, you gonna miss your bus. But you know, we be having so much, trying to do so much on our own, right? And men will just walk past, or I could drop something and nobody even tries to get it. Like, that is so disheartening. Like, I'm a woman, okay? And regardless of whether I look like I got it all together, where are the men? You know, miss, I got that. I can help you do that. You know what I'm saying? I can do that. It's so refreshing. They're just the littlest things, because you don't see these things happening as much as they used to, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's been times like that where I could definitely understand and agree that we are overlooked at times. You know what I'm saying? I love my black skin. Beautiful black. Always been beautiful black, long hair. Okay, bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. And I love myself. And if you don't, then you could get lost. And you have to have that type of attitude. And I'm not just talking about in relationships. Corporate America. Oh, and that video is coming. In corporate America. And be careful of those people who look like you, who you think are down for you and are not. That is coming. That's why you got to know who you are. Know whose you are. And know that you serve something greater purpose than whatever space is trying to shrink you down, right? So anyway, the article also says Dr. Autumn Adia Griffin's definition of self-love from her book. The book is called Finding Love in a Hopeless Place, Black Girls 21st Century Self-Love Literacies. I didn't get the book yet. I will get the book because I'm very interested in reading it. And when I do get it, then we're going to make another video about that. But anyway, Dr. Autumn Adia Griffin's definition of self-love, she characterizes it as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing, celebrating, preserving, or protecting one's own, or another's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual growth. Let me read that again. The will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing, celebrating, preserving, or protecting one's own or another's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual growth. Given that it requires taking up space, pushing for growth, and honoring all that you are, it strikes her. She's saying it strikes her that it's a revolutionary act to have the audacity. Hear that? The audacity to love yourself as a black woman. And that's how, like, just think about that. Like, what do you mean? The audacity, like, have we not been? Have we been loving everyone else to the extent of our own, what is the word I'm looking for? Our own detriment. And I can see that. I can see that. But anyway, we do have the audacity. And that's what I guess people can't get over. Like, yeah, we do have the audacity to love ourselves, and we will, because we are very much capable and we are very much deserving of that. And we're very much deserving to the point where we will wait, or we will not settle for men that are not reaching our standards. And standards, this has nothing to do with, everybody's talking about pay, right? A lot of black women have experienced struggle of already, like been there, done that with somebody they seen potential in, or, you know, helped to take care of, or, you know, been a second mother to, because the mothers coddle their sons a lot. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to any mothers that, and I, you know, I'm not a mom yet, so don't come down here. Don't come down here in my box talking about, so you not a mother, you don't understand. I got a brother who was very much coddled by my mother. So, you know, I seen it firsthand and I see it all the time. It's one thing to love on your sons. It's another thing to raise your sons while loving them and teaching them. And if the man's not in the house, I'm not judging, you know what I'm saying? Because I see my mother go through some things. What I'm saying is, when men get to a certain place, they need to, even if their dad is not there or whatever have you, they need to have a certain respect for women. A lot of these men these days, I don't know how y'all was raised or what happened to you. I'm sorry that it happened to you. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get that from your mother or whoever, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. It's not your girlfriend's fault. It's not the person who stepped in to raise you's fault, or you be mad at the world and upset that black women are progressing. That's not going to stop. You know what I'm saying? We're your counterpart. Supposed to be your counterparts, your helpmates. You know what I'm saying? Like the multipliers of everything. Black women love black men. And I'm going to tell you that because I talk about that in my circles all the time. We really do love black men. And it's hard to even want to be with another race or anybody else if that's what you desire. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get the love that we deserve. We're hoping that you guys step it up. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, if this is not for you, if you're not that type of guy, then I'm not talking to you. So don't say nothing. Like, don't at all. Because I find people just be wanting to say stuff just because. But it's like, if you're not, that shoe don't fit, then I'm not speaking to you. But a lot of you men need healing. Like, because there's no, I don't even think it's manly. And I know men hate for women to say that, but it's nothing manly about a woman bashing campaign. It's just corny and lame and whack. And I think it's just going to lead to more members of the LGBTQ. I'm sorry, but it's kind of like, if you don't like women, then I mean, you gotta like men, or I don't know. But that's another video for another time. You know what I'm saying? I just want people to definitely practice self-love and understand that it's okay. It's you're worth it. You're worthy of it. It's okay for you to take a moment for yourself and to see where you've been and where you might want to go. And if you're unsure about that, it's okay to have your journey and take time with yourself. It's not only going to benefit you, but it's going to benefit everybody around you. Some ways that you can practice self-love. Wait, what does it say? Here are some steps that can help you on your self-love journey. To practice self-love is to declare in both words and action that you are worthy. See? Or rest, worthy of rest without needing to earn it, and working yourself into a regular state of burnout. Okay, so that means like go on vacation. Go on a weekend getaway. You know what I'm saying? Do something just away from your normal activity where you're just having fun. Like, you're a seafood lover, go to Baltimore, Inner Harbor for the weekend and just go pick out and eat seafood. If you like the beach and you can't travel, say, to the islands or whatever, go to Florida. You know what I mean? Like, these are little things that just make people happy. Like, you like ice cream. Go after work or on a Saturday and get you the biggest banana boat that you can possibly find, and that's your happiness. You can do that. It is to be intentional and counteract any negative chit chat about yourself and replace it with loving words to affirm your brilliance. I am loving, I am smart, I am kind, I am powerful, I am deserving of wellness and ease, I am worthy. Okay? It is to be curious about how you can treat your body with better care, tenderness, and respect for carrying you this far. Give yourself, look, I haven't even had a child yet, but honey, for you women out there that have and I desire motherhood, my hat goes off to you, because I don't think you get the respect that you do if you're a stay-at-home mom. I don't think you get the respect that you deserve to raise these kids. Men spend one day with the kids and they be like, babe, I'm sorry, I ain't know. I know it was like this, because it's a lot. It's a lot, right? So, and exercising too. Make sure you exercise. It's not the easiest thing, but you know, as you get older, you have to. Practicing self-love encourages us to create new habits. So instead of waking up in the morning to scroll through social media, you can start a new habit by taking time to list the things that you love about yourself. If you struggle, just start with one thing and build on it. Also, something my therapist told me to do when I felt, you know, unaccomplished or inadequate or whatever, write down all your accomplishments. Like literally all your accomplishments from day one. And you'll be surprised how many things you accomplish, big or small. Like, you know, graduate. Don't be putting on there like you graduated. I mean, you went to the 8th grade to the 9th grade. Like, I mean, well, that is a graduation. But you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be putting on there like you went from 2nd to 3rd grade. But, you know, like, list your accomplishments and you'll be surprised. That's one way to start. Self-love also encourages us, and I know this isn't always straightforward, to limit. No longer put yourself in hostile environments and seek out spaces on and offline that are intentionally curated for Black women. I just recently had an experience. Okay, let me just go back. I work in TV, y'all. Y'all get a bit of me every time we have a video, right? I work in television. Television is not... It's a shiny place. It's a shiny, bright place, but it can also be a deep, dark place. And what I mean by that is you have people that are always critiquing. You know what I mean? You have people who feel like you need to shrink yourself down, especially as a Black woman. Especially as a Black woman that looks like this. You see how I like my earrings? Shout out to Issa Rae. You know, that I feel like she's going to be my sister friend in the future. So I'm going to give a big shout out to her. Who else like their earrings? I think Ava DuVernay. Maybe not. I could have sworn I seen Ava DuVernay with some hoops or not. But whatever. All my hoop wearing queens out here, my professionals that work hard, work diligently, get their job done, do whatever they need to do, have great attitudes, but yet people still can't get past that you're Black, and when you show up you just want to be yourself. And no, I don't wear these to professional settings, but you should be able to show up at unapologetically as yourself and be accepted. For us, it's either the braids and people want to touch, like, don't touch me, don't ever touch me. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that, because I don't go up to people just touching their hair regardless of how flat or, you know, unalive it looks. I don't do that. Don't touch me. And don't touch anybody else either. Like, if you want to admire someone's hair or whatever have you, there's ways to do that. But I kind of feel like it's always either these eggshells or, you know what I mean? Like, because people are uncomfortable with our authenticity, we're made to be the problem. You gotta love yourself, because if any young girls are watching, I'm telling you, that's something you ain't gonna realize until later. That's one of those lessons the mama give you, and you be like, and she like, people just ain't gonna like you just for being you. People ain't gonna like you just for showing up and spreading your light. People are not gonna like you because of the aura that enters the room when you enter. People are not gonna like you because they know God has an anointing on your life. I'm gonna just leave that there. But so don't ever shrink yourself in any spaces, okay? Like, that's not acceptable. So I feel like self-love gets you to the place where you can love yourself, and you can know who you are, and you can celebrate yourself where you need to, so that way when people are not doing these things, that way you won't feel emptiness. You won't feel unseen. You won't feel unheard. And those are big things. Like, those are huge things to feel like. And I wanted to end this video. I think we're kind of done. I think we're kind of done. Like, I just want to say, I'm still on the self-love journey. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been the easiest, but it has definitely been gratifying. I truly thank God for... Whew, what a life. What a life. I've been in, I grew up without my dad, didn't really get along with my stepdad. You know, thought I met people who really loved me, was going to be down for me when I was like younger. And don't get me wrong, there's still probably one male in my life that I know definitely is down for me and loves me unconditionally, like unconditionally, and I'm grateful for him. He knows who he is. But the people who you thought was gonna be there, like the people you laid next to the longest, you know what I'm saying, that hurt you. They say the ones you love the most hurt you the most, you know what I mean? But I also believe that if we're faithful, God knows our hearts, and he is not going to forsake us. I'm a great person. You keep being a good person, and it's somebody out there for you that's going to reciprocate all that loving that you have and going to love you as you need to be, even better than what you thinking that you should be loved. Ain't that something? I guess that's what keeps me going. That gives me hope. And I just wanted to give anybody else hope, whether you're a man or a woman, because it's different. It's different in 2023. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if you go to people that's married or been in a relationship, they don't get it because they ain't been out in these streets for a little while. But these streets, these streets are not for the weak, okay? And you got to stay prayed up. You got to know who you are. You have to really walk in your truth and be unapologetically you, okay? I want to end this by I have a girls organization, right? It's called Violet Dreams Girls Empowerment and Awareness Organization, and I do women support groups. I haven't done that in a while, but I need to start them back up. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll start some from this channel once I get a following that I feel like I deserve. No. Once we get a following. But anyway, I had a women support group, and it was about self-love, the same situation. And at the end of it, I have found these self-love contracts, right? I'll put it up so you guys can see what y'all probably can't really see. I'm going to probably type, I don't know who made this, but I'm going to probably type it up and put it in the description box. So that way, you know, you can read this to yourself if it's something you just need a start. So I'm going to end this by reading it. Self-love contract. I am on a collision course. Put it right there. I'm sorry. I am on a collision course with destiny. I am at the intersection of truth, the avenue of opportunity, the boulevard of passion, and the street named courage. All the lights are green. I choose to proceed. Today I crash and walk away with purpose, success, and nobility. Today and always, I alone accept and own full and total responsibility for I alone accept and own full and total responsibility for being my genuine and true self. Therefore, I vow to live authentically, to grow and care for my best and nobler self, that I may reflect the shimmer of God's glory and divinity. Today I shall be blessed with all good things. My day shall be good. I will have great success. My joy, peace, prosperity, and success shall be abundant as the stars at night. Friendship, favor, affluence, influence, health, happiness, support, beauty, and abundant living shall be my constant companions. I am unconditionally loved, celebrated, revered, appreciated, honored, understood, valued beyond measure and human comprehension. I make a difference in the world, and I will continue to make positive impacts in the lives of others. This is my contract with self, and today I give myself permission to live my best life and push until I succeed. So that's it, guys. I hope that that someone, you know, got something out of this video, because I find that a lot of us are looking for love in a lot of places, a whole bunch, besides ourselves. And I feel like if you ever get confused about what love is, Corinthians got it right there for you, 13 verse 4 through 8, and it'll let you know exactly what it is. And if you're ever experiencing anything outside of what it says love is there, then you know that you don't want that for yourself. God doesn't want that for you either. Your family, people who love you, they don't want that for you either. Your children are watching. They don't want that from you. They don't deserve that. And you're bringing trauma to them. So come on now. But yeah, so I'm done, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you stuck around for the whole video, please like, share, comment, talk to me. Let me know what you guys want to see. And I want to end this with my favorite motto, which is always stay you, always stay true. Can't nobody else be you. Nobody else will ever be able to walk in your shoes and give to the world what you can give to the world. So go shine your light, love yourself, and take full responsibility of your happiness, because everything starts with who? With you. Peace out, y'all. I'll catch you on the next Live on the Set with D.